Hi, this is Jake, and I run the chess club at the Creston-Dement Public Library, and welcome to another chess video. Today's video is on pawns, specifically passed pawns and promoting pawns. A pawn's ability to promote to another piece, once it reaches the last rank of the board, gives them extra importance once the more powerful pieces have come off of the board. Promoting a pawn to a queen is often a game-winning move. A passed pawn is a pawn that cannot be stopped from getting to the last rank by another pawn. This makes it quite difficult for the opponent to stop that pawn from promoting. In this position, white has a passed pawn. The D pawn has no other pawns preventing it from getting to the other side of the board, and it can freely run down the board to promote. The A pawn might seem like it's a passed pawn at first, but black's pawn on the B file is able to attack diagonally and stop the A pawn from getting to the other side. The A pawn is not a passed pawn currently. On this board, white has a passed A pawn wishing to promote. There's no other pawns to stop it, but black's king is relatively nearby. Black also wants to stop this pawn from promoting and secure a draw instead of a loss. Will black's king be able to get there in time to stop white from promoting? While you can take the time to count out the moves, there is a quick visualization method called the rule of the square. If you draw a box starting from the pawn to its promotion square, so in this example 4 squares long on each side, you can see what squares the king has to be in to catch the pawn. In this example, the king is just outside of the box and won't be able to catch white's pawn. And white can promote on the next move. If the pawn is closer to the end of the board, so for example in this position, the box is smaller. However, if the pawn is further from the end of the board, the box is larger. And the king is more easily able to catch the pawn. And finally, this position might look like white is in trouble. White has no passed pawns, and black's king seems to be able to quickly move up and attack all of white's pawns. This is a classic passed pawn puzzle, however, which white can create a passed pawn by sacrificing some of their other pawns to do so. I highly recommend pausing the video to try to figure out the solution for yourself, as I find this a very fun puzzle. But if you just want the answer, the first move is to move white's middle pawn. If white plays one of the outer pawns first, black can move their middle pawn forward and lock down the position. Moving the middle pawn works because you attack 2 pawns at once. Black can't move both of these pawns out of the attack at the same time, so this forces black to recapture. You can recapture in multiple ways. And depending on which way black recaptures, you simply have to mirror your response. You want to respond by attacking black's now blocked middle pawn with the pawn on the opposite side that black just took with. So black took from the right, so we'll attack it from the left. At first you might be thinking, whoa, black can just take all of my pawns, but as white you are fast enough. If he takes this pawn, you simply move this pawn forward and you now have a passed pawn. There's no more pawns to stop it. And obviously, if black takes this pawn, you simply capture this pawn, and again you have a passed pawn. Either way, as white, you create a passed pawn, and you'll soon make a queen. If you want to see this, if black takes from the other direction, again, we want to take this now blocked middle pawn from the opposite side that black just captured with. Depending on which way black captures, we simply capture with our other pawn in this case. If black captures here, we simply start moving the pawn forward. You might have already figured out some of these concepts on your own if you've played a few pawn race games as described in one of our other chess videos. I'll put a link in the description to that video. Creating passed pawns is an important way to win a pawn race, and is why I highly recommend using them to teach new players. But that's all the time we have for today. Don't forget to visit us again for another chess video. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you and your king stay safe.